Yes, it's mine. Okay. Hi, we're starting the Fort Lowell meeting. I'm Mary Lou, the chairperson of this board. And because we have a guest, we will go around and introduce ourselves and make sure we all get on the record.
Briggs Klinka, board member.
Dave Peets, board member
And co-chair.
and co-chair and resident.
Margot Sackheim, board member and homeowner, resident.
Elaine Hill, board member and property owner.
Dan,
Dan Hill, resident Fort Lowell, board member.
Jason,
Jason Lowenthal, City of Tucson staff.
Desiree,
Hello, I'm Desiree Aranda, Historic Preservation Officer. City.
and Mr. Lanning.
Bob Lanning, I'm an applicant with a project.
Okay.
And then for the record, who is sitting in the audience so I can have that on the LAR?
Hi, I'm Ann Jordan. I'm a new resident in Fort Lowell.
Are
And
you
you can move up
5440
closer,
East
just to
Fort
hold
Lowell?
Oh, this is where it was up in the center. Are you walking?
Okay. I have a question for Ann Jordan.
Yeah.
Ann Jordan, are you the owner on the agenda item?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. To start our meeting, we will just call for a review of the minutes of the last meeting. It looked like a very robust meeting and just wondered if there were if everybody had a chance to read them and any changes or corrections.
I don't have any, but someone else might. I motion that we accept the meeting minutes from previous board meeting,
The February board
the
meeting.
February 23rd board meeting. And I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, very good, thank you. The next item is our call to the audience, which there were no agenda items added. So I would like us to go ahead with a review. Then Ann, did I get it? Yeah. Okay, and this is the design review of SD 0326-0043 TC residence 0126-00426 at 5440 East Fort Lowell Road. At this time, we will be wanting to hear your presentation, and we will hold our questions until the presentation is complete. Anybody like to add anything to that?
Mary Lou,
Yes.
staff will just give a brief introduction to the project and then I'll turn it over to Bob Lanning.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, board members, this is a proposed project at 5440 East Fort Lowell Road. Applicants propose to construct a ramada behind the main building and install a driveway gate. This is a contributing non-historic structure built circa 1998. And this is going to be the first time that this project is being heard and considered by the Fort Lowell Historic Preservation Zone Board. That concludes my introduction. I'll turn this over to Bob Lanning and let me know if I need to share a screen for you.
I think we're good at this end.
Okay, if you'd like to share your screen, and if I need to give you permission, I'll do so.
Looks like it says that we need to have you you disabled it, so we need to have you
Yep.
turn that off so we can share screen. Do we just click OK? Can we do it now?
I don't see where the permissions, I'm trying to look for the permissions to grant you.
Yeah, usually it says you can make them co-host. So in the corner, in the right top hand corner of Bob's little like rectangle,
Okay,
if you go the
let's
ellipses,
see.
does it give you an option to make co-host?
There we go. Make Bob Lanning co-host. You should be able to share. Thank you.
Great. I think there's two of us here in this office. It's myself, Bob Lanning, and Serena Wall is here as well. So we'll just run through rather quickly because I think you've probably all seen this, but this first item on the screen is the project site. So it's on Fort Lowell Road, as you just mentioned. You can see it's the large parcel there on the south side of Fort Lowell Road. So I guess, and here's the aerial and also the development zone. The development zone is what we work with when we do design work, and you can see it's basically everybody on, since we're mid-block, it's everybody on our side of the street and the other side of the street for the length of the block. So that's why it is as large and in and out and all around as it is. So, and there it is without the aerial photo, and it notes the contributing structures and non-contributing structures. So, and we also need to submit contributing properties within the development zone. And here are some of them with the addresses noted on each one. Here's two more also in the development zone, also contributing.
Bob, would you go back one picture, please?
Okay,
Just one, thank you.
that one?
Yes, thank you. I'm good with that. Thank you, thank you. I've got it figured out.
So now what we also submit as part of the historic submittals are photos of the existing residents. So because we're doing a ramada, one of the two items is a ramada at the rear of the existing residence. That top left photo shows the basic area where the shade ramada will go. We'll go right in front there. And when we get to the drawings, we'll be looking at the shade ramada. Then to the right of that, the next photograph also shows, looking in the opposite direction, the same area where the ramada is going to be located. Then to the right of that, there's an existing porch at this structure on the east side of the structure that has, and we took this photograph because we're wanting to include some of the detail elements, especially those curved corbels on the shade ramada. So basically we borrowed some of that, at least that design element, from the existing shade structure on the side of the building. And then the bottom photograph on the bottom left is the drive looking in from Fort Lowell Road. It's a dirt drive. You've probably all seen this dirt drive, but our client wanted to put a rusted steel car gate there that's that would make it so that you have to use the gate to get your vehicle in and out of the parcel, because right now there's nothing stopping anybody from driving in and out of that parcel. Now it's not a fence attached to that gate, it's literally a gate, because we're imagining the rest of the native vegetation is just going to remain in place. So unchanged. So here is the subject property aerial photograph. And here is the first sheet of our 2 sheets of drawings for this project. It shows the site plan, the big drawing in the middle there. The shade ramada is, you can see it there if you see. So there's the shade ramada towards the bottom and the left of the existing residence. So it's behind the existing residence in terms of from its visibility from, say, Fort Lowell Road. And then at that same site plan, towards the top of the site plan, you can see the new vehicular gate at the existing driveway. And at the bottom of that same sheet is elevation of that steel gate. It would be a rusted steel gate, 14 feet wide, swings one way, 5 feet tall, and it would have 2-inch by 2-inch tube steel frame and then a rusted frame steel post at each side. And then it would have pickets, which are 3/4 inch square steel pickets between it all the way down. And otherwise it's open though. It's not obscuring anything. It's open. It's simply to prevent vehicles from going in and out. That's all. And then the next sheet of drawings shows a plan and a framing plan and a couple of elevations of that ramada. And the ramada is a rough sawn wood ramada with posts, beams, joists, and it's open above. It's not got a roof on it per se. It's not got a built-up roof or a steel roof or anything. It's literally going to be rough sawn 2x up on top, laid flat, and they will serve to provide some dappled shade / sunlight. So it's not a full roofed ramada, but rather it's just a place for some outdoor dining and gathering. And that is all I can think of. That's all we got.
Okay.
Open for discussion or questions or anything.
I'd like to suggest, first of all, that we handle these one at a time. One would be discussion of the ramada, and one would be discussion of the gate. I'm happy to start with either one and open it up for questions from the board members.
I have a couple of questions with the drawing that's up right now. So the one on the left is,
So we're looking at the ramada.
yes, the
Okay,
Ramada
so we're
south
talking about the
elevation
ramada.
and the west elevation, right? So the south elevation, I can't quite read what it says there, but does it say it's flat?
They're 2x2, 2x4s laid flat.
Laid flat, okay. So it's just a different perspective of the slats, basically, right?
Yes, it's the slats run, they run north-south, or excuse me, no, they run east-west. And so you're in the south elevation, you're looking at the last 2x laid flat. And in the west elevation, you're looking at the ends of a bunch of them.
And there's 6x6 posts, is that right?
The posts are, yes.
So,
And I,
question,
is
sorry,
it,
go ahead.
I have one more question. Is it stained or painted?
It would be stained rough sawn.
What's the stain color?
We haven't talked about it yet.
Okay.
It's the one that you showed that this is similar to the one that's already on the property, also stained.
And we would want to keep it the same color.
And
color's
you would
painted.
try to,
We have,
Painted.
they left all the paint, so
you would try to
Yeah.
match that stain.
that,
You mean the Cornish?
Mhm.
yeah, that.
Is that like an orange?
No,
It
it's
looks like
kind of a reddy, like a bricky red. That looks really orange there. It's like, wow, that's, I think it's, see how there's the house is kind of like that green and then there's brick.
Yeah, that's yellow.
And yeah, and it looks yellow in the picture, but it's actually green. And then the wood is, I think they tried to match the brick as best they could. So it's kind of an orangey red.
Hmm.
It's the best way I can describe it.
Like a redwood stain.
Sorry, did you say that's what you're going to go for with the stain color?
Yes. Yeah, because if you look at the back porch right there, like where the umbrellas are, and you look straight ahead at that color is probably more, but we want, it's the same as this. So yeah, we'd want it to be consistent with the home.
I have a couple questions. I'm wondering if in the west elevation you have the tails, the tails of the rafters appear to be different than what's on the existing structure attached to the house. And this is not something I'm married to, but I'm wondering if other board members think also that it should match the existing structure.
What is it precisely that you're Describing.
So if you look at the detail on the rafter tails on the west elevation,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that doesn't match the detail of the rafter tails for the existing porch.
Can we go back to the porch?
Can we,
And I think for my money, I'd prefer it to match the existing. The beam tails, I'm fine with, those being a little different. I think that looks nice, but the rafter tails, I think would look better to match the existing. And I'll finish. I'll say the second thing the second comment I have, which is the 2x4 is laid flat. I think for this neighborhood, we might prefer something more like Latias, a little bit more rustic, just to fit in with other elements within the neighborhood. Again, not a hill I'm going to die on, but just for my money, I think that would be better.
and what are the ones that are existing?
The
What's on
Latias, or
2x4s?
they're on the other porch. It's a roof, so there's no.
It's a roof.
Yeah, there's nothing laid across the rafters. It's a roof across the rafters. On this one, it's going to be 2x4s in the drawing, and I think that could look, depending on how it's executed, I would guess that would make it a little less than, it doesn't match Fort Lowell's character, is what I'm getting at.
I don't understand. What are the Latias? I don't.
So if you look at the
pieces.
drawing, there's at the top layer. So there's rafters that run north-south, and then there's 2x4s that run east-west.
Mhm.
And the 2x4s, I think, are going to look rather clunky and kind of, it doesn't quite fit with the rustic nature of Fort Lowell, in my opinion.
And Dan, I think that most of those, and the 2x4s that you're talking about, really, they stand upright instead of laying flat. Like there's.
Well, I think what you're thinking of is the rafters. So the rafters, yes, they always stand up, and this does have rafters, right? But then some pergolas like this one, or ramadas, however you want to call it, they have an extra layer to provide more shade, right? It's more like a lattice, and so that's that second layer. And so, but I think I don't see that a lot on anything else in Fort Lowell. At least nothing I can think of has that. It's either Ocotillo or Latias or it's usually something a little more rustic.
Well, there's the Ramadas in Presidio behind me, north of me, that have flatline rafters on their small Ramadas.
They're like this though. They're not just the rafters. They're actually the bits that go on top of the rafters.
Well, I just know whatever lattice work is going across are probably 2x4s that are flat. They may not have the joists.
And
I guess I'd have to see that to bring it up in my memory. I can't think of it.
And in my thinking, they were more, instead of being 2 inches, they were 4 inches tall, so that you again got the advantage of more shade from that direction.
No, but these are definitely laid flat, right?
These are
As
laid
it says in the
flat,
plan.
right?
Yeah.
But the
So I
ones
think-
that yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you're thinking is what the purpose the rafters will serve, right? So you have these, what are they, 2x8s? I can't see that. 2x8s. Those will be vertical, right? Those are standing on end. But the 2x4s on top of that, there's plenty of examples of rafters standing on end, sure. But I don't think there's a lot of examples of a square piece laid on top of rafters, to make it look like a grid, basically. Usually when there's something on top of the rafters, it's either Latias or Ocotillo or, I think saguaro ribs in one example I can think of. So it's not it's not so geometric if you get what I'm saying.
I think as I look at this, it's not visible to the street and it's behind the house. I don't know if anybody in La Sonrisa gets a view of it. I appreciate that it's matching in the design. And I appreciate your comment very much about the end. It was like, I don't know what you called that end cap, but the end cap
Rafter
also
tails.
matching the rafter tails, also matching. That seems to be something that I'm thinking that I don't know, the 2x4s, if they put a tin roof on, they would have something that looks like the 2x4s, where it would be flat and like that.
I think they're just using the 2x4s as slats, as spaced slats to provide some shade. And yeah, but because they're not structural, they're laying on their side to function as producing more shade in the shade structure.
Yep.
Yeah.
The trees are the ones that are structural.
Yeah.
Right, we see these shade structures in other places, like there's a really nice one at the Desert Museum. I think they use much smaller slats. They use like 2x2s or something.
Yeah.
That's a nice shade structure.
1x2s. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really have a picture. Yeah, well, because of the architecture of this house, there's really nothing else that suggests that in this architecture, except the oak teal fence. Right, I mean, there's nothing else. I can't think of anything else in that house that's not a little more formal in architecture.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking more throughout the neighborhood, not this house specifically, right? There's no other example I can think of where there's a 2x4 laid flat on a pergola. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Right.
All the other examples are ocotillo, hand hewn latias, like they're just, yeah. I mean, again, not going to die on this hill. So if nobody else was worried about it, I will.
Well, I
Not
have a
worry.
question for you, Dan. What about the one at 5425? Well, how are those slats? I'm just asking.
Yeah, no. As far as I know, there aren't slats on that one. They're just 4x6s. So basically, they're rafters and no slats.
Okay.
Right? No latias, no nothing on top of the rafters. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how the one at our house is too. We just have beams. Oh, the one that was previously up, it came down now, but it didn't.
I think what doesn't come across in these drawings is that this will look very much like a grid when it's finished.
Yeah.
Which again, if no one's worried about it, I'm not worried about it. I just thought it would be a good suggestion given the rest of the neighborhood. So.
Okay. Well, we won't vote. Should we vote on the separate pieces? Do you think? Or I'd like to go ahead with the discussion on the gate and then put these in as one, because they came as one.
I have a question. So I noticed I did do a little drive-by on my way here. The posts are already in. Were those there when you purchased the home?
No, we weren't aware of when we bought the house, wasn't disclosed, so like all the rules. So they started the post and the work and then we stopped. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, so they removed everything else but that one, just those 2 posts until we did everything.
Okay, and then another question, presumably this will be electrified gate. So where will the controls for the gate be on the site plan? Like, will it have its own extra keypad column or will it be a system that just interacts with your vehicle arriving?
It'll have our phones will be able to remotely control it and it'll be hidden kind of on the side of the post. There'll be a panel there. And so we can open it through the phone. And we didn't get that far down the road on like where the box would live. But my understanding, it would be to the left of the post if you're driving into the driveway.
Okay, so it's not currently on the site plan for the gate elements of where this other element of the gate, which is the control post, will be?
It's, it's called a
Yeah,
lift
yeah.
master.
Just trying to get clarity about the full install.
Okay, it's called a lift master gate. And it is not not an additional pole. It is an additional element that it is down at grade. And it basically, so it's not a pole. It will be hidden from the front completely because it's going to be behind to the left. And basically it's an element that mounts at grade, and then it's got a swinging steel bar basically that pivots and pulls the gate open and closed.
Okay, but what about the keypad to operate the gate? This will be no keypad, it will just be through phones?
Yeah, just.
No keypad.
Okay, so thank you. That's what I was seeking clarity about, just to understand there's no additional post regarding the electronic equipment for operating the gate.
No.
If anybody else doesn't have questions, then we continue the conversation, correct?
Do you have other conversation? Do you have another question?
I don't have any other questions.
About the design or anything of
I have, yes, I would like to speak about that as a board.
Yeah, and Yeah.
Bob, would you go back to the photo of the
Okay.
driveway from Fort Lowell?
Of the front driveway? There.
Yeah, that one.
okay. And where are the posts there?
Yeah, they're about midway down that drive, but you can't actually see them in this photograph.
They're not. I'm not going-
They're not in
They're
that
not in
photograph. They're not in the photograph.
But are they between like those like, two, what appear to be
Two rocks.
rocks?
No, they're
Right
further, they're
inside?
further inside than
Or-
that. Yeah, like
Oh.
they're about like 15 or 20 feet from the rock, maybe. Like I had plenty of room to pull my truck into the front of the drive, look at the post install and the location of the gate, and then back up to kind of, to do a site check. It is really kind of nice because the gate is functioning at an angle, so it's not running parallel to Fort Lowell. But I do have some concerns about the design choices relative to the development zone. There's nothing in the development zone that looks like that on any of the contributing properties. It is in a universe of its own compared to Old Fort Lowell neighborhood.
So what do you suggest?
Well, wait, let's go back to that photo again, please. You
Back to the previous photo.
back to the photo of the driveway. So I just want to make a couple of comments about this property in general. This property historically was called the Little Desert. And it's adjacent to Fort Lowell Park. It's adjacent to the officers' quarters. And when the officers' quarters were developed, or when we did a brownfield cleanup there, remember the big Yadkin Steel property that was there? There was a brownfield cleanup there, and in that brownfield cleanup, they found 13 pit houses. So I'm imagining that your property is also covered with pit houses. Just to be, just that you should be aware of, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then this historically after the fort was called the Little Desert. It was really important. The landscape, the appearance of the landscape on Fort Lowell, right there, as you're going through that area, it's one of the last remaining native landscapes, right? So I think it's really important to try to retain that as much as possible. And to try to contribute to not only the historic zone and the Ochoa House that's right next door. Because the Ochoa House is historic. It's the post trader storehouse that was rebuilt in 1930, and then it was refashioned in the 60s to make much more rustic. So you've got a very rustic property on one side, and you've got Fort Lowell on the other side. So I really think that anything you do on this property kind of needs to be respectful of that, and to contribute to the other properties across the street. The trader store, the commissary, those are all the military, but they've also been adapted to more of a Santa Fe style, the ones across the street. But I would hate to see this desert. I'd hate to see us lose this desert
Mhm.
because it just contributes so strongly to the historic zone. And to the, even to the neighborhood itself, to Fort Lowell Road itself.
So.
That's kind of, may I just interject something? That's kind of why this gate is such a light presence on the landscape. It's completely see-through. It's rusted steel. It's 5 feet tall. Not a single bush is going to be touched on either side of it. So it's completely and utterly contributing, in my opinion, and also contributing or complementary doesn't mean identical to. I mean, now I'm gonna go down a little bit of side path here.
Well,
We're not
Bob, can
doing,
I-
this is not a
Bob, excuse
historic,
me,
what?
Bob, I'm sorry, I didn't finish. I couldn't finish. Because that's exactly what I wanted to say was that it needs to be transparent for the most, as much as possible. That it needs to contribute by materials. I wasn't saying it doesn't contribute. I was saying that I was more just like giving a little reminder to the board and to these new owners that about, you know, what this area is. I know you're very familiar with it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, you know, that you're using rusticated materials and that it's see-through. But I guess what I would say next, now I'll let you go ahead and finish what you were gonna say.
Well, what I was gonna say in general is that I've been doing preservation work for 40 years in Tucson, Arizona. And we have collectively long moved past the point of having to make something identical to or replicate something identical in a development zone or a historic neighborhood. And this is not a historic preservation project, frankly. The house was built in 1998, and here we are in 26, and excuse me, and it's our job per the Secretary of the Interior standards is to make it complementary but not identical to anything. It doesn't have to be identical to anything in the historic district.
I don't think we suggested that.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm more responding to, I think, that the stuff on the Ramada.
So what are the design implication, Elaine, that you seem to be pointing to? So you'd mentioned one thing about it being more open, is that?
See-through,
So
yeah.
more see-through.
Yeah,
Okay.
and actually, and not that it should be identical to anything, but there are no other solid steel gates like that except adjacent to this property. There are plenty of, you know, drive-through gates. But to me, this looks very industrial.
I think that one of the, and when we look at gates and walls of extent, and part of it is this is such a long gate, I think. That the fact that, and Bob, you're gonna love this, there's like no height changes in the fence. It's flat, it's smooth, it's even. And the walls and the gates and the openings in Fort Lowell aren't very, actually, I don't think there's anything that is this smooth and this even. And I think to me, that's the first thing that shouts out to me.
Yeah.
I love that it's as open as it is. And I don't know, I don't have a suggestion of what this one could be like, but I do see that piece, that rectangle, and I don't know that I think it's industrial, but it's like that rectangle is something that's different in the neighborhood. So I just wondered if anything else was considered, I guess.
And I'd like to make one other comment that most of the other gates, if you look at the other gates, the historic gates, and you could adapt to those concepts, is they're more like branch gates.
Yeah.
They're more open. some of them have cross beams, corral gates.
Usually they're split in the center. Yeah. Yeah, they have split, they're like a split door gate. Yeah, for me, the Ramada is, I feel like in context with this house, which was built by a historic enthusiast who realized the development zone that he was building in and built to the fort complex. But this gate for me is wildly off mark from the development zone. And I appreciate the perspective of saying that the gate should be as transparent as possible, but due to the way it's angled off of the street, I actually don't feel that it significantly is blocking the desert view. It's fairly offset through a certain amount of deserted area, and it's also running almost perpendicular to Fort Lowell. Not quite, it's angled, but like it's not parallel to the street. So you're not looking at the fence panel, the gate panels. For me, when I looked at the commissary gate and the post trader store gate on the way here, this is even though this is a newer build house, that was the architecture that it was dialoguing with when it went up. And I think that a wood slatted gate would be more appropriate outlook, or a ranch style gate. And that there's even a possibility for a mid-ground that allows for more permeability, because it sounds to me like the primary intention is to prevent vehicles from going down the driveway. And frankly, I'm having that problem at my own house. So we will also be presenting a gate in some future point. Like, I'm not against the idea of being able to prevent vehicles from going down your private drive, but the design is not landing for me relative to the development zone.
I think, yeah, I mean, I just want to maybe double down on that as far as I think my contention with it in particular is that it's a seemingly modern design element. The little, I don't know what you'd call them, but the on the vertical bars of that gate, they look kind of like little diamonds or so in the drawing. I'm not really sure what they are, but this seems to me like it could fit in the foothills. It could fit, in almost anywhere in Tucson in some ways. And, we're trying to preserve the unique nature of Fort Lowell in a sense. And yeah, you're not wrong that the Secretary of Interior standards, don't ask for replication. Of course, they want it to be differentiated, and, of course they appreciate modern elements and things like this. But we're looking, and same goes for the Ramada, right? We're just looking for elements that are sensitive to the unique nature of Fort Lowell, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the first, well, in my head, a gate, mine had something just very pretty and light. Bob suggested kind of going simple and transparent. So design wise, I'm kind of open to anything. I like everything. I'm not, sold on it has to look like this, whatever, wherever we can kind of land where it meets the aesthetics is perfectly fine.
It does. I'm glad I hear all of your comments, because it really has kind of opened up a vista for me where I agree. I think it imposes a kind of neoclassical order on a landscape that's really quite disordered in a lot of ways. I mean, this is very geometric. It's very linear, even though it does, you see it as from an angle, but it imposes a kind of artificial sense of order that doesn't exist in this landscape. And so, I mean, if you're open to different designs, I think there can be a design that does fit with the idiom of the landscape. And I agree. I don't think this really does that. As wonderful as it might look in a lot of other contexts.
I think the size, the height, all of that's fine. The
It's fine,
transparency is
yeah.
fine, yeah.
Yes,
It's
it's
just
kind of,
No,
it's the order.
there are certainly elements that are sensitive. I should I recant my previous statements that it's not since because it is, and as you say, it's see-through, it's rusticated, it's, I think, most of us are just worried that it's, it doesn't have some of these more ranch style or fort style elements.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Bob, I gave a document to Ann that we've been working on about fences, walls, gates in Fort Lowell.
I haven't seen it. Have you both seen it?
Yeah, he hasn't seen this.
Yeah,
I have
I've
not
seen
seen
parts and pieces. So I'm thinking that at this point, we need to, I feel like we're in sync as a board and can put forth a recommendation and a vote on what we've seen today that includes the Ramada as one entity and perhaps asking for a return on the design of the gate as the second piece.
I'd be willing to put a motion together. I move that we ac- accept the design package for the Ramada with a suggestion to consider matching rafter ends that match the house. And a consideration that you may opt to use, what did you say, Dan? Ocotillo or?
Yeah, Ocotillo, Latias, hand-hewn Latias, or something more organic in nature.
It's a suggestion. I think based on how the temperament of the boardroom table, not a requirement. And that the gate proposal should be rethought more in line with the development zone and the ranch nature and organic nature of both this property and its development zone.
Is there,
You want to rephrase that a bit about you say you're saying it's not a recommendation, it's a suggestion?
Yeah,
yeah,
because it truly, to me, it didn't sound like the board felt strongly, but that it would be like, we have a homeowner who's interested in design and open-minded, and that it could be something that they might consider, like, you can look at the Ramada, they're a little distressed now outside the chapel, but like this concept of a more natural material or
So why don't you rephrase it,
no, we can have a discussion about the motion as much as we want.
You need a second first.
Oh,
I'll second the motion.
okay. Now we can, now there's discussion. And I wondered if, Jason, if you got that and could read it back to us.
Thank you for that, because I did want to make sure I got it right, and I was going to ask that. So I have that Clinkle Briggs moves to approve as presented the Ramada with the suggestion to consider the rafter tails and consider Latias or Ocotillo on top, and that the gate proposed be more in line with the development zone.
no, that be resubmitted for approval.
Well,
The
which
lattice
part should be
gate.
The
resubmitted?
gate, the gate.
Stick to
The
the
gate.
stick to the Ramada first, because you weren't suggesting that the rafter tails not be modified. You were recommending that the rafter tails.
Yes, I made a recommendation that the rafter tail match the house and a suggestion that there be a consideration for an alternate natural material for the slats. And other than that, that the Ramada is a perfectly fine option for getting shade into a yard in Tucson. But that the gate is not meeting the needs of this board's requirements for a historically sensitive gate for this property, and that it should be resubmitted with a different design that is more in line with ranch gates or the gates in the development zone. And I'd be happy to addend that if the board.
So we had a second. Jason, do we have to, by rules of order, since it was restated, do we have to go back and get a second again?
It would be good. Is there a second on this revised
There's-
motion?
I'll second.
Okay, and now is there some discussion? Anything about the recommendations that we would like to clarify or have further discussion on?
Well, I'm curious as to when you say ranch style or gate, I mean, are you talking just strictly design or also material?
I think that would be a consideration for both design and material. To me, the steel verticals are not hitting it. Even remotely. This looks like the entrance to an HOA community. Even a consideration for perhaps a split panel gate, but it is not this committee's job to design the gate.
No, I know that.
Yeah, so,
To offer some suggestions in terms of,
yeah, I mean, I don't think that has to be part of the motion though, right? It's the
No.
conversation at the table. And yeah, like you've been equipped now with like a little bit of a resource here from the board to go back with your designer and kind of revisit that topic a little bit.
no, I'm just, so
Sure.
that they have a better idea of what, the board may be looking for.
Do you have suggestions?
No, because you pointed out some very good things that I'm too easy.
So I think Briggs, you brought up that a lot of the gates are, wooden. So either wood panels or, actually, yeah, that's a lot of them are wooden slats. Yeah. There's a couple examples I think where, they're wood with an actual frame, kind of built like a door with rails and stiles. To get further away from that, just because I think sticking with the steel is not a bad idea. The sort of canonical ranch fencing that has the 2-inch pipe might be one option that has horizontal, 4 pipes that run horizontally. That'd be pretty simplistic. There are other examples with wrought iron that have a little more detailing at the top, but the vertical elements, those bars, are not quite as geometric, I think. And these are maybe if we have pictures we could send, I don't know, but
Well, we've handed out the gates and photos that we've had that will eventually go into the design review guidelines.
yeah. So those are all good things to look at. I think. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, I think we're not saying it shouldn't be a steel gate or that it shouldn't be, have some geometric elements. It's just that it's if it had more of an organic feel, as Briggs said before, maybe the height differentiation at the top where or some designs in the middle that were a little more
Irregular.
yes, thank you.
So the only other thing I wanted to add is that this property turns over. What I get concerned about is we allow things like this that are saying, well, we only want a gate. That's all we want. But then the next property owner comes in and says, I want a fence that matches that gate. And then you have 2 acres of that gate, right? You have something that's much completely changes the character of the desert here. So we're really promoting wire fences right now.
I could add something. I think it would be helpful in the motion to clarify, are you all recommending approval with conditions or recommending a continuance? Because those are the 2 potential options that I'm hearing.
We are
Yes.
recommending a continuance
Of the gate.
of the gate. We are good with the Ramada.
Can I ask one thing? Can the gate be a minor review and not a complete continuation? Here's my problem. I'm going to be guessing at what you guys are going to be approving. And we're about, if I have to come back to a full review in front of you guys, that's in a month. Then the historic commission's maybe 2 to 4 weeks after that, then the actual, we're 3 more months out. And there's a thing called a minor review, or at least there used to be. I don't know if you guys still do it, but could we just show up on a Friday with a revised gate and get you guys to approve it right on the spot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To Desiree.
it's, yeah, it is up to,
Yeah.
we would, what do you think, Desiree?
Yes, we do that. There's precedent for that. I think that there's been precedent for doing that for a while. So if you want to, make the motion to be that the gate would come back as a minor review, that is something that we do quite frequently, or, every once in a while.
Okay, I will addend the motion to provide for the new gate design to be reconsidered as a minor review.
On the condition that someone other than Margot, because I'm not knowledgeable enough.
Yeah,
I don't
I'd
feel
say-
qualified. Briggs, you have so much more background. And Elaine, I mean, I'm willing to. I just
Yeah.
don't feel qualified to do that.
Okay, if I'm in town, I'm happy to do it. I'm about to leave town for a couple of weeks.
And do it fast, Bob,
But others can do it.
but others
Yeah.
can do it. We've
Yeah,
got
Elaine or Dan could.
I just don't feel.
David.
And David
Yeah.
can too. Yeah, we'll
We
make
do
it
that.
happen.
We'll figure it.
Virtually as well. So if that makes it easier for folks.
Mhm.
And also, I just want to add, thanks for your patience on these kind of things, applicants. This is, these are challenging elements to get right, and we appreciate you hanging in there.
But yes, we could do it as quickly as we can get with the city to make it happen. Okay. So with that, we should have Jason read back regarding, I think, both elements, please. And
Sure
then we
thing.
can-
So I have that Clinkle Briggs moves to approve as presented the Ramada with the suggestion that the rafter tails match existing
Excuse
porch
me,
rafter
no.
tail.
Condition.
With the condition,
Got
there
it.
was a recommendation for the raptor tails.
So you're saying not the suggestion, but a condition of the rafter tails? Was that it?
Recommendation.
Okay.
A recommendation from the board.
Recommended
Got it.
condition. Is that?
I think, yeah, folks are getting hung up on the differentiation between a recommendation and a suggestion. A recommendation, I think, is we are saying that's a synonymous with a condition, whereas a suggestion is not.
And I think it should be recommendation of approval with the conditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I
That's
see happen a
typically how
lot.
right.
So recommendation of approval with the conditions, the Ramada, that the Ramada and the rafter tails match existing porch rafter tails, and for the applicant, consider Latias or Ocotillo on top, and that the reconsideration of the driveway gate be a minor review and be more in line with the development zone.
And yes, do you want to put in anything about the details of the development zone?
No, I believe that the applicant has that responsibility.
Yeah.
And we've had a vibrant conversation about it.
And does our recommendation for a minor review need to go as part of that for that gate? Or is that just understood?
So
Should be
that
in
is
there.
in the motion. If I reread that again, that the reconsideration of the driveway gate be a minor review
Mhm.
and
Great.
be more
Thank
in
you,
line with the
Jason.
development zone.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I don't, do we need a second on that or are we good to go now?
I don't, was it? Sure, I'll second.
David seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Dan? Aye.
Elaine, did you?
Okay. That is, the recommendation, and there are no nays. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good job.
Yeah.
Enjoy your shade structure.
You can
And the gate,
get
right.
tomorrow.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're
Thanks for being so.
Okay, and Bob, when you have a new design for the driveway gate, go ahead and reach out to me and then I can schedule the minor review.
All right, thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Ann.
guys. Bye.
Okay, thank you on that, Jason, for your help. That's great. Very good. Our next agenda item is a follow-up regarding the minor review at 52, or an update, I guess, at 5259 East Fort Lowell. What kind of is happening there? Is that true? Am I on the
Yes,
right agenda?
I can
I have
give,
no other
I
items.
don't have any on that.
No other items. I'm sorry. Then there are no other items.
I have,
Anything
there
new on
is,
that though?
there is number 5. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, sorry, I didn't have the agenda open. Apologies, Mary Lou.
Okay. There's,
No,
so
I-
there's, can I go ahead and give,
I thought I
Give the-
had it.
Yeah, you did. Good job.
Okay, yeah, okay, I did have it. That 5259 East Fort Lowell Road. Thank you.
I apologize.
No,
I didn't
no,
mean to
not-
turn you around there.
Where is that?
It's the property next to the teacherage with the schoolhouse on it.
Ah, okay.
yeah, so it's a brief update. It's more of a heads up that, so the property owner, Kaylin Norgord, provided, or he reached out because he's interested or would like to install a perimeter fence and or wall on the property. And as many of you probably remember, or maybe some of you don't remember, but the development was approved kind of through the, had been approved, it was appealed, and it was ultimately approved through mayor and council ordinance as part of a settlement process. So in that mayor and council ordinance that had passed, there was a condition in the ordinance that stated a reference to a perimeter wall must be removed from the plans. And so because that condition is in the ordinance, we explained to the applicant that we would need to amend that ordinance in order for them to apply for a perimeter wall or fence. So we will be, the council member has sponsored an amendment to the mayor and council ordinance to remove that one condition. And that's the only condition that would be removed from that ordinance. And that would be going to mayor and council on April 7th. Following the amendment of that ordinance, it would go through the regular review process for a fence or a wall. So this is basically just an update. We're not going to review the item today. I wanted to let everyone know ahead of that April 7th meeting, mayor and council meeting, that would be.
What time is the meeting?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. Let's see. And it would be, it's
Five.
going to be on a consent item agenda.
Open up the
but
agenda. Live link.
Yeah, it won't be
Online.
a presentation.
That's why I don't.
And
Um,
excuse me, which council member sponsored this? Was that our Ward 2 council member that sponsored this?
Count Cunningham, yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Cunningham sponsored this. Okay,
And again, it's basically to allow the owner to apply for that wall permit. It will still have to go through this board, through PRS, through the regular process.
And the meetings in the
fences.
evening?
But it's a consent agenda. It's not gonna be
Yes.
discussed.
Oh, there's no open call. Okay, so if we want to give our comments to Paul, we should do that soon.
Yes, the items should be posted, the agenda should be posted next week, online.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Desiree, I had another, oops, thank you, Barbara. I had another question regarding that property. Can I,
Mhm.
since it's concerning that property, it looks like a second driveway is being formed. Based on, it seems to me that it's more than just use of the construction vehicles, but instead the way now that the DG, and he gave me a whole schooling on, it's not really DG, but it looks like DG and it acts like DG. That now it looks like there's a second driveway, you know, and forgive me, Dan Hill, but one of the things we've always talked to this gentleman about was the fact that there were no walkways, you know, no evidence of the front door and things like that. And now it looks like some of that grading and definition is coming in without landscape planning. So I'm a little concerned about what else is happening there.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we can't really discuss the property. It's, not fully on
Okay.
those elements aren't
Agenda.
on the agenda. But I mean, I do recall there was a stipulation or condition in the ordinance related to, only a single driveway. So, and that is something that will need to be, it'll need to, match what was approved in the ordinance.
Okay, well, that helps.
Really sorry, folks. I got to take off.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, thanks a lot. See you soon.
Very soon. Okay. Thank you for that update, Desiree. Anything else on that? Yeah, no. And then, are there any new minor reviews besides the one we just recommended coming forward?
Yes, I can answer that question. Now, there have not been any minor reviews coming my way for Fort Lowell Historic Preservation Zone.
Okay.
Is there any update on code enforcements?
Don't have any updates.
Okay. Anything for future agenda items? Anybody? No.
Design
Design guidelines,
review
yeah, what's
guidelines.
going on? Where are they? Have they been enacted yet?
So the PDSC directors recommended approval to the city manager. So they're currently with the city manager's office.
Okay, and what's the timeline on that completion?
I don't have a timeline. I wasn't provided with one, so I'm not sure.
Like by
I've
our
asked
next board meeting, perhaps? That's an appropriate
Yes, I would.
interval?
I will be, yes, I'll be asking and asking for them to hopefully get back by the next board meeting. I can't guarantee it, but I will ask.
Great.
and staff updates.
Wait, just to clarify, after the city manager approves them, are they enacted?
Yes, that is the last step.
Okay.
Other staff update for you all. Desiree, you did a really nice job with the training.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
it's really helpful.
Thanks for attending.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we had a staff training on Saturday, or staff training, a historic zone advisory board training on Saturday, and we had a good turnout. I probably will do kind of a makeup one because there's still quite a few people that weren't able to make it. But yeah, thanks. Margot went, and Elaine, I saw you join, so really appreciate you guys attending.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. This process has gotten better since I've been on the board.
Mary Lou, could you read the time you adjourned
I agree.
into the record?
We've gotten better.
I
the
would
city's
say
gotten
it's
better.
6:35.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's
Thank you
an
all. Have
hour
a good
meeting. Never
Very appropriate.
record time. Bye.